Hello. Want to meet my new girlfriend? What you're looking at is a marriage between man and machine. My name is Stuart Coates, and I live in a world encased in ice for 5 months of the year, known as Quebec, Canada. And this is how I reduce the heating costs in my apartment over those winter months. And I actually get to go outside, pedal around, and go for miles, miles, miles. And this is how I do it. I call this trike Solidia. Every trike needs a name, just like every ship needs a name. And I've christened this trike, this three-wheeled recumbent trike, which is not truly a trike. As a trike typically is for a child, but this is an adult human-powered vehicle known as a TerraTrike. Specifically, it's the Tour 2 GT model, 27-speed. And approximately 1 year ago, I began looking into adult recumbent tricycles, or human-powered vehicles, as a means of once again becoming physically active outdoors. Giving you a bit of history about me, I was an avid cyclist in my 20s, and I logged up to 50 miles per day or 80 kilometers per day and achieved over 19,700 miles over a span of 4 years from 1984 to 1988. I actually ran in the Montreal Marathon in 1984. Back then, my knees were a lot better, and I got around a lot better. And I want to share my knowledge and my experience as a cyclist as it applies to recumbent three-wheeled human-powered vehicles, which is their true designation. They are not technically trikes. Trikes are for children. These are three-wheeled human-powered vehicles designed mostly for adults above the age of 12 and all the way up into their 90s. I want to place particular emphasis on the following. I've decided to make this two-part video sharing my knowledge and experiences with this recumbent as it pertains to those who may have certain physical challenges, go over the modifications made, and the problems that I've encountered along the way until now. Bit of background, I'm an engineer. I hold degrees in mathematics, computer science, and economics. However, life became more pragmatic upon completing my last university degree, and my once physically active lifestyle was set aside in favor of finding a job, a salary, and a means of supporting myself. I worked first as a commercial banking services officer for the Toronto-Dominion Bank in Montreal, and then for nearly 20 years as a software engineer in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. These occupations were white-collar desk jobs, and over time my once well-conditioned body again returned to a normal average state. And so it remained that way for approximately the last 25 years. My normal state, however, is not truly normal because I have been afflicted with cerebral palsy since birth. It is a condition involving brain damage that was caused due to difficulties at my birth. And anyway, this is how I get around. This is my means of overcoming that disability. As a matter of fact, the main problem with my disability, 90% of my disability, stems from my balance. So if I find a machine that removes that hindrance, I can operate just as well as anyone else. In fact, I could probably keep up with 90% of you out there. My cerebral palsy affects 3 of my 4 limbs, moderately on the right side of my body, less severe in my left leg, and my left arm is the only limb that is unaffected, and it operates in a normal fashion. Um, One of the operations I had many years ago left an incision up in the groin area, and it was being irritated while exercising on a regular saddled stationary exercise bike. So I began to study recumbent trikes, all of them. And my research was quite thorough as I studied all models, deltas, and tadpoles. What you're looking at is a tadpole trike. My final choice was a tadpole trike, the TerraTrike Tour 2, the 27-gear GT model. This is the late 2014 model, as you could probably tell from the paint pattern, and it is their latest Tour 2 model's configuration. It has the following specification: total width 34 inches, total length 76 inches, maximum weight capacity 300 pounds, standard FSA 30, 42, 52 tooth triple crankset up front, rear cassette 9-speed Shimano cassette in the back, a SRAM X7 rear derailleur. The seat can be varied in angle and can be adjusted both forward and backward. The seat is currently in its most forward position, and I prefer the seat angle 1 notch down from its highest position. A note on positioning: the highest position is where you have it almost sitting vertically in the seat, is a little too cramped for the stomach muscles and has a tendency to cause pain at the top of the pedal stroke behind my right knee. So by moving it 1 position down, I have eliminated these problems. Its lower angle settings would place strain on my neck over an extended period of time, even with the headrest, but 1 notch down seems to work best for me. Off-the-shelf weight, without accessories, is listed at 38 pounds. The pedals are of particular importance, and they cause the biggest challenge. I tried clipless pedals with clipless shoes, and I don't have movement in my left foot due to an operation, so no lateral movement, and I was unable to disengage from the pedal on the left-hand side. I tried regular pedals. They didn't keep my feet on, so I settled for fixation, fully enclosed mountain bike pedals. These are the Mesa pedals, where the bearings are fully encased and enclosed, with the straps removed. I still retain the straps, but I don't use them. And as you can tell on the front end, there are little pedal extenders allowing for a wider stance while pedaling. For the Tour 2, unlike the Rambler, the Rover, and the other model, which is their Sportster, there are 3 sizes available, and it depends on the size of the boom. The boom is the piece of metal that extends out in the front, and it comes in 3 sizes: small, medium, or long, based on what is known as an X-seam measurement, which is a measurement from the top of the hip bone to the bottom of the foot. This trike uses the medium boom length, which typically is for a person between the height of 5'7" to about 6'2", and right on the edge, as Lydia Rayburn of TerraTrike told me when I made that initial phone call to her, and I have named the trike after Lydia in honor of her expertise and knowledge, and getting me once again interested in cycling after 25 years of sitting on my hind end getting fat. Anyway, I've lost 4 inches on my waist, and I've still got a little way to go, but it's helping. Back to the trike, however. The brakes are an Avid BB7 disc brake system, and the brakes apply only to the front wheels. There's no rear brake, and the brake, I've set it up so that the 2 brakes come on in the front through a single brake lever. The trike has a 15.5-foot turning circle, and on the rear, when we get around to the picture, you'll see a Marathon Plus 26 by 1.5 rear tire with 2 idlers coming out on the chains. There is a sidebar with hand-built extension frame mount that has been mounted vertically to the crossbar of the trike and mounted to it with the following on it: water bottle and cage, Garmin 1000 cycle computer and mount, front 3-setting headlight mounted on the sidebar, left rear view mirror mounted to the side trike. And my brother, who has been the greatest help to me because I only have one hand, so he's had to do all the mechanics. Remember in the old-fashioned race cars where you had your mechanic right beside you in the car? Well, I don't have a second seat on this trike, but it's almost like he's there being my navigator and my mechanic. And I will say this much: I probably wouldn't be riding this trike if it weren't for him, because he's made several modifications to it. He's mounted the sidebar to the crossbeam frame, and he's actually added some hardware to the seat, which raised it up several inches, because the Tour 2 has the lowest seat, and my reasoning and rationale for getting the lowest seat was to get the most stable trike so I could take the corners at the highest speeds. However, I found out that the seat was just a little too low for my legs, and he had to raise the seat up slightly, probably the equivalent of a Rambler seat. And he added some hardware underneath that I will show you on the side when we get around to it, to the side picture. As far as the main body of the trike, there are fenders on all 3 wheels. As I mentioned, a single hand grip dual disc brake Avid BB7 braking system that applies to both front wheels, designed for one-handed use. And at the base of the handle on the left-hand side, you've got trigger shifters on the left handlebar, grip consisting of a left bar end shifter for the front derailleur and left trigger shifter for the 2 trigger shifters for the rear derailleur mounted below the left handlebar. Then on the right side, a right rear view mirror mounted on the right grip shifter, and a TerraTrike T-bar that I have added to properly have a place to use my right hand. I don't have complete use of my right hand, but it does function, and I'm able to put my fingers around that T-bar and use it to control the trike, or at least stabilize it. Now, moving further back on the trike, I have a behind-the-seat rear seat bag that you can see up top with the TerraTrike, or at least you can see the front end of it with the gold lettering TerraTrike across the top. TerraTrike headrest, a rear 3-setting red light mounted behind the seat, and a mounting for a GoPro Hero 4 Silver Edition action camera mounted with the GoPro JAWS mount on the sidebar. Once again, I at one point had it mounted to the back of the headrest, but it was slipping because of the poor conditions of the roads out here, so I moved it down to a place where I can get a hold of the camera in a more readily and see what it's doing. I have an American flag on the left rear of the seat, and there's quite a story behind that. I live in a French province, and I'm hoping that when I'm stopped, they'll assume I'm an American. I'll certainly act like an American, and hopefully they will first attempt to speak English to me, especially if they're the cops. I may not get that lucky. I haven't been stopped by the cops yet, and I try to obey all the road laws and, make sure I don't get into trouble that way. But just in case I am stopped, I'm going to act American, and hopefully they can. Beside the trike, you're currently seeing a cat that has wandered in from the outdoors. I have the doors open here, and he occasionally walks in. He's a neighbor's cat, and I feed him, take care of him, and poor old thing, he comes in here and he mutters around in here, and he and I are friends, and he's a really great cat because, about 6 weeks ago, I injured myself very badly. I sprained my wrist, fractured my wrist, almost. I got involved in an almost head-on collision on the bike trail that leads down to North Hatley. Coming into North Hatley, going around the corner, I met a guy in my lane. The other lane was free, and he wouldn't move aside. And so I swerved to avoid him, and the trike tipped, and I put my left hand down, which is my good hand, bent 3 of my fingers back. Of course, the right rear tire had come off the ground at that point. It was tipping, and I had 225 pounds with my weight plus the trike's weight, and did a pretty good job on my wrist, which put me out of commission for the last 4 to 5 weeks, and I've gotten back into it, but I'm probably back at about 80% of where I was at one point, but I'm still in pretty good shape. And I had planned a very long cycling trip this summer, but that has been postponed until next summer. I have an overall goal of triking all the way down to Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is where the TerraTrike headquarters is located. And I'm hoping that they'll get, even though Lydia no longer works for TerraTrike, that they'll invite her along, and I'll get her to meet her in person and to thank her in person for getting me initially involved in this cycling activity. And we got into a bit of an argument on the phone, a friendly argument about gear inches, and she swore I was going to kill the gear inches when I got the 26-inch rear wheel. But that doesn't seem to inhibit me too much on the hills. We've got some bad hills out here, as much as 14% grade, and I'm able to get up them. I'm able to get up at least up to a 12 or 13%. There's a 14% that I try to avoid. And in the second part of this video, I'm going to show you how I climbed that hill. And I also have some video of a tour that I took the trike down to the local university where I went to where I picked up my degrees, and I'll put video up in that second part of the video as well. Anyway, I hope this first part, this technical review of the trike, has been useful for you. And if you have any comments or questions or insults, feel free to add them in the space provided below in the YouTube video. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day.